What up? Welcome to another episode of the Dealer Talk Podcast. This is your host, Herb Anderson. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today's session, we're talking to our second tech company or technology company of the season. As you all know, every season we pick two companies that have somewhat of new technology, and we like to showcase those on the show. The way that I kind of go about setting this up is I get a lot of inquiries from companies wanting to do demos and wanting to come on the podcast to talk about their solutions and things of that nature. And so I do a bunch of these demos prior to each season, and then I pick two companies that I really like. And my criteria is it's got to be something that I feel that is bringing some sort of value, right? Because I don't want to just get them on the show and have them pitch their product. I want to make sure that they're addressing some sort of global issue within the industry so that we can have a good, valuable conversation. But at the same time, it's got to be something that I feel could have the potential to make some sort of an impact. And today's session is no different, right? So the company we're talking to is called RevFerral, and it's a unique take on the referral process and how to automate that in order to maximize the value of it, right? Because in my opinion, that's probably one, if not the most effective way of generating new business. These guys were gracious enough to accept to do a webinar for the Dealer Talk audience for free. So make sure to check that out. The information is in the show notes. As always, I just want to put a disclaimer out there that we've received no monetary compensation to promote this. It's simply something that I feel could be of value, and I wanted to make sure to showcase that on the show. So if you're interested in learning more, go to the show notes. I made a mistake when I promoted this during this session, but as you know, we don't edit anything. So I wanted to clarify. The webinar is not on the 28th, obviously, because that's Thanksgiving Day. It's actually on the 22nd. So, go to the show notes. The information there is accurate. There's a link. You can click on it, sign up. And if you're interested in learning more about this deal, you can check it out. It's absolutely free, and you can, listen to these guys pitch, look at the demo, see if it's something that might have some sort of an impact, or just help you create some sort of differentiation. Again, we don't promote; we're not for or against. I just feel it's cool. It's something new. It's something different. It's fresh, and I think there's something there that might merit just taking a look. So anyway, that's all we have. Let's get into the episode. Let's check it out. Hello, welcome to another episode of the Dealer Talk Podcast. This is your host, Herb Anderson. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. Got a great conversation lined up for today. I'm very, very excited to get the guest on. Before we make the introduction, I kind of wanted to set things up by posing the question. Right now within your dealership, what is your best marketing tool, marketing resource, if you will? If you really think about it, what is getting you the most results for the least amount of spend? That's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about one of the most effective ways that you can set yourself up for success. So I'm very, very excited for this conversation. I think that there's going to be a lot of insight, so make sure that you're ready to take some notes. And yeah, man, I'm excited to get into it. So without further ado, our guest for today is Mr. JP. JP, you're going to have to help me with the last name, man.
Yeah, it's Burr Kemper. What's up, Herb?
Burr Kemper. There you go. JP, welcome, man.
Thank you. I'm so pumped to be on.
Dude, I'm excited to have you on the show. This is going to be a great conversation. Like I said early on, that's one of the things that when you and I connected and started talking about what you guys do, I was really, really attracted to what you guys offer. And after I saw the demo
even more so. And so I'm pumped to have you guys on the show so we can talk about, one of the most effective ways that dealers can connect with customers and generate some additional wins.
Well, I definitely appreciate that, man. And yeah, I'm just excited. A lot of exciting things going on, and I'm just excited for a good conversation. You obviously know a ton about the industry and all the listeners out there. I'm just kind of excited to get this opportunity to expose what we're doing and, see if we can help some people out.
Right on, man. That's what it's all about, too. Okay, so let's see. So first question I ask everybody that comes on the show is give us a little bit of a recap. Tell us a little bit about your experience, what you're doing, and what you've done in the past.
Yeah, so that's a good starting point. To be honest with you, Herb, and I know we've talked about this in the past, I don't have a ton of experience in the dealership world. This was kind of introduced to me. My dad is a big player in the finance field and has started a couple different businesses throughout his career. I've been in sales a long time, and this was introduced to me through him, who met my partner, Randy. And you're going to probably hear a lot more about Randy through this conversation. But Randy's been in the industry for, 25 years, automotive technology type stuff. And was introduced to him, and we kind of hit it off, kind of had the same, goals, dreams, if you will. And that's kind of how I got involved. So rewind, I know this is airing a little bit later, but rewind back to May of this year, 2019. I quit my job. We've been working on this RevFerral, is what it's called, for the last 2.5 years. Coming up, getting closer to 3 years now. And back in May, I quit my job, and at that time, really just put aside everything and dove headfirst into all this. So really, you could say I only have about 5-6 months of experience. But I think Randy, my partner, really makes up for it. And, all these industries, when you talk about referrals, which I know that's kind of a lot we're going to be talking about today, it's the same type of thing. You ask any type of business owner out there, no matter how successful they are, what could you be doing better? If anything, a lot of those people out there are going to say, well, referrals. So that was something that really resonated with me when Randy brought this up to me. It's his baby, but really kind of hit me right in the center. And at that point, I was all in. So that's really a background on me. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, and I don't know. I think that's all I got for you.
Right on, man. And you started things out by talking about your experience and not having any. And listen, I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. I think sometimes that fresh perspective,
absolutely, yeah,
is an advantage, right? And
no doubt.
that that could definitely bring some just a different insight,
fresh perspective, right?
For sure. So, all right. So obviously the conversation or what we're talking about here is a way for dealerships to connect with customers in a more effective way, right?
Absolutely.
And when I think about that, right, when I think about that opportunity, I'm always thinking about how can dealers connect with more customers or more potential buyers at the least amount of spend.
Right.
I read an article recently, and I can't remember where it was, if it was on Automotive News or where I saw that, but it was talking about the cost of acquisition for a new customer, and it was super expensive. It was like $500.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah. And so talk to me a little bit, 50,000 view, right? Because I always like to start big, and then we'll work our way to a granular point. But 50,000 view, when you guys sat down and you were like, hey, we need to change this particular thing in the industry, what did you see? What was the issue? Talk to me about that experience.
Well, you know what? I think you said it right there, man. There's so much time, effort, money is spent on new customer acquisition, and coming from a sales background, I don't blame any of these guys. So much is focused on, hey, I get this lead. I'm going to work like hell to convert it. And once it's converted, well, it's on to the next, right? So kind of, what really kind of hit us in the head was, well, what systems do we have in place? And when I say we, I mean car dealerships. And this is stuff that I've just kind of picked up on over the last few months. What systems do we have to really kind of retain our customers that we have and really, in a way, convert them into active promoters for us? Because, you talk about that spend, what you said, $500 per, customer acquisition. It's crazy. You think about like what these customers can do for you. Hey, Herb, I just bought my car through ABC Lincoln. Man, I had a really great experience. That's it. And especially with all the joy that comes along with buying a car, just being able to really leverage that and really, I don't want to say own, but, cultivate these customers that we have and really capitalize on the goodwill of, these customers that we've helped out, taking advantage of what is a satisfied customer. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, no, totally, absolutely. So at the dealership level, right? When we're looking at ways to, I don't know, offer a solution or some sort of a different, I don't know, tool or a different way of capitalizing on the referrals. Would you say that you guys saw that the salespeople were not really asking for that referral? They weren't really utilizing that technique, that tool that's available to them? Is it because they were afraid to ask for it, in your guys' opinion? Or is it because they just have too many customers, too much business that it just, it's not even in their mind?
Well, I definitely, I think it's kind of a combination of all the things that you brought up. In my head, I don't think there's such thing as too many customers, to simply ask for a referral. It also, you said it's a little weird, you can't really put your finger on it. Something that sounds so simple as, hey, it was a pleasure helping you out today, Herb. If you got any buddies, well, let me start with this. If you had a good experience, man, referrals are great, and they really helped me grow my business. And especially, with the experiences that we had today, anyone you bring in, I'm going to roll out the red carpet for them. Something like that, which sounds so simple. It is a little weird. You're asking for something out of the customer. And believe me, I've been there, but and then it goes to, not having the tools. I don't think that's the salesperson's fault. I think that's definitely something that we found to be a void. There really isn't a system out there to really capitalize on the potential here. And going back to, the amount of people or salespeople that are asking for these referrals, it's less than 15%. So, wow. You ask me, it's crazy, it's a little wild. And, I've talked to a lot of different decision makers, a lot of GMs, a lot of salespeople, kind of get their feedback and ask them about it. And all these guys will tell you, oh, well, what, the people that are asking for referrals, it's the difference between selling 30 cars a month and 10 to 15. So, you see it in the numbers. But at the same time, those people that are asking for referrals, well, what does that look like? Hey, Herb, pleasure helping you out. Anyone, tell them to come on in. I'm going to hook them up. At that point, yeah, I think that goes a long way. But I don't think these car dealers have systems to really track and monitor that, to where, and if you're not tracking, you're not optimizing. Does that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, man. But it's crazy because I think I think about it this way, right? So, and obviously I work, how do I say this? In my line of work, right? As a consultant in the automotive industry, like referrals for me are number one.
I love that.
Right? Because I can't, that's kind of how my business works. Like I work with a certain dealership and they recommend me to others, right? Or maybe within their own group or whatever. So for me, that's definitely a part of my process. And I wouldn't want to do it any other way because in my mind, that referral customer is the best type of customer.
No
right?
doubt.
Because they come in to that transaction already from a place of trust, right? Because you've been vetted already, so to speak, right?
Of course.
And so to me, that would be the easiest thing to do would be to, hey, if you bought a car from me and you had a good experience and everything was great and, 10s all the way through, my next step would be to definitely ask you for that referral, who, right then and there, like who can we talk to? Give me their name, sort of a deal. Obviously in a professional way. You don't want to be pushy or anything like that. But that would be the next step. And so it just seems it's
like a no-brainer almost.
Yeah, right. It's kind of crazy to hear those statistics and to kind of see that that's not being done in I don't want to say that, across the board, because I'm sure that there's exceptions to every rule, but I can agree that there's definitely an opportunity there for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, just the power of referrals, Herb, I'm going to hit you with a little bit of statistics here. I hope I don't bore you guys to death, but, trust and reviews, recommendations, referrals from friends are the number one drivers behind purchasing decisions today. And what's so great about that, Herb, is that 83% of American consumers, they say they're willing to refer after a good experience, after a positive experience. So we got that going for us. And then 92% of people say they trust reviews, referrals from people they know. And then 82% of consumers they're out there actively seeking out reviews, referrals from friends when considering a purchase. So really compelling stats there. And this actually leads me to my favorite. You mentioned it earlier right when we were introducing each other, was referral marketing generates 3 to 5 times higher conversion rates than any other channel. You talk about, TV, radio ads, digital advertising, social media. It's all awesome, absolutely necessary in your guys', campaigns and everything. But there's something to be said about referrals, and like I was saying before, it's the cheapest form of marketing out there. So the fact that, and it's not, you said there's an exception to every rule. There are dealerships that are more forward thinking out there that have systems in place. But for the most part, we're seeing that most of these guys don't,
Yeah, that's definitely interesting for sure. So kind of switching gears here a little bit. Yeah. How can, in your guys' opinion, right? Like, how can dealerships, obviously we're going to talk about what you guys do and the solution that you offer later on, right? But just from a, hey, we see this issue in the industry, right? How can dealerships create a reason for referrals to happen within their teams, right? How can they? Because obviously the givens are there. Hey guys, listen, referrals super effective. It's cheap. You know what I mean? Like like you said, it can make the difference between selling 15 and 30 cars a month. Mm-hmm. But obviously that's not enough because it's not happening, right? Yeah. So, what are your guys' thoughts?
So, let me try to understand where you're coming from here. What are our thoughts on like systems that these dealerships should be implementing, or help me out there with what you're.
Sure. So basically, what can we leave for the people that are listening, whether they're taking ops or maybe they're decision makers, maybe they're managers or whatever with the team, right? So how can they create a reason for referrals to happen within their team?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that makes sense. I think it all starts with customer experience. I think it's everyone in the dealership, whether you're a porter, or upwards the GM, you got to be going into work every day, doing your job. And that's making sure that your customers are leaving with a great experience. That's going to, of course, the better experiences they have, the more they're going to talk about you, hence referrals. Right. So I think that's really what it comes down to, is making sure you're doing your job well. You go on as a salesperson, you go on with a smile on your face. You're not pushing anything. I think, when you were talking about you get your own referrals, you're not pressing the matter. But you're definitely leaving it open there. Hey, these referrals, they help me out. It's really as simple as that. But I think, and that's kind of the thing here, Herb, I think that's why we're on the podcast is, to tell you about real systems that can be put in place that really haven't existed in the past, because I do believe that a salesperson should ask, and I think that should come down from management. Hey, make sure you're asking for referrals, but man, even better, why not have systems in place to ask for you? And we're going to dive into that a little bit deeper, but does that make sense at all?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. I think I think you hit it. You hit the nail on the head with the experience portion.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
What we want to do is we want to leverage that opportunity that we have to, like I said, just create that trust from the gate, right? And I just don't see anything better than somebody already being like, hey, this is the guy. I bought the car from this dude. It was an awesome experience. You got to go see him.
There you go.
Having that mindset during that process, I think that is key. But, I pose the question, why is that not happening? Are we not doing that because, are we afraid that the customers didn't have a good experience? I mean, because right? If they left there feeling good about their experience. Yeah. And if they did, why are we not asking for that? Well, is it because we forget? Is it, you know what I'm saying? Like, why is this definitely not happening?
And that's something that you can't really put your finger on. As weird as that sounds, I mean, you nailed it as well. I mean, as a salesperson, when somebody's leaving, if they had a bad time, if they had a great time. For the most part, I think we can agree, Herb, when your customer's leaving with a new car, they're going to have a big fat smile on their face, right? So at that point, it is a little weird. It's a little weird, and I'm just putting myself in the shoes of a salesperson. I've been there, but it is really that simple. Just teeing it up. And I know I almost sound like a broken record now, but hey, Herb, I helped you out. Can you help me out here? Right. I don't know if it comes down to being scared and of course, every salesperson out there is a little different. I know there's people out there that have no problem. They've got it down to a science asking for referrals. I've actually heard some really cool strategies that some of these guys have. And man, it works like a charm.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm sure. Like I know several myself. So yeah. I like I said, I mean, okay. So let's see. Let's talk about the when is the best time? You know what I mean? Like in your guys' research, in your opinion, because your systems obviously work on some sort of a cadence, I'm sure. And like I said, we'll look at that in a little bit. But when is the best time to ask for a referral? Yeah. Because for me, for example, any time is a good time. Dude, if a customer's walking in and they're leaving and there's nothing, and I've lost that sale, right? That customer's walking out the door for whatever reason, I wasn't able to convert it. I'm still asking that customer for a referral.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that customer's walking out the door, hey man, who do you know that I can sell a car to? Who do you know that needs a car? Like that would be my mentality. That would be my philosophy. Because if they're walking already, right? I have nothing to lose.
You got it. You got it.
You know what I mean? So what do you guys think? What is your recommendation?
Best time to ask for a referral. You said it. It's all the time. If the salesperson had the luxury, if they had the time in the day to call up every single customer they had sold to, whether it be once every month, every couple months, to ask for a referral, or maybe shoot a text, email, whatever it is, that's what you want. Unfortunately, salespeople, they don't have that luxury. All right. They're so focused. And again, I don't blame them. They're focused on the next sale. Right. The best time to ask for a referral, though, is, of course, moments of delight. And in other words, I just bought a car. That's a moment of delight. I'm freaking psyched. And you know what? Herb, my salesperson, hooked me up. Hey, and then I get asked that question. Hey, do you know anyone else that's in the market? Because if you do, I hope I did a good job for you. I helped you out. I'd love to be able to be of service to one of your buddies. So the best time to ask is absolutely right away at delivery. Hey, before they leave the lot in their brand new car, they're psyched. And, that's when people are going to be talking about it the most. When I pull off the lot in my new car, I pull into my driveway. Well, my buddies are going to I go to work the next day. My buddies are going to be asking, oh, you got a new car, yada, yada, yada. And it's the best time. Yeah. My salesman Herb hooked me up, and also making it, rewarding for me to give a referral. We all know about bird dog fees. Every dealership has them, but how many customers of yours that are leaving the lot actually know about it? So I think always be asking for referrals. That's probably I don't know if that's a great answer, but the more you're asking, the better, because you never know.
Yeah, I think it's part of, you got to make that part of your process, right? You
No
got to
doubt.
find a way to ingrain that in your process. And maybe that starts in the beginning, right? During the hiring, especially if they're green peas and they've never been in the business before. Now you can, now you really have an opportunity to make that kind of grind that into their, into what, the steps of the sale or whatever you're using.
You got it.
For the dealership. So. The other thing I kind of wanted to talk about is, and I don't know if you guys have statistics or if you've seen anything in particular within what you offer, but what is this? What is the referral process or the referral program? Not program. That's not the right word, but getting to a place where you're constantly asking for referrals, even on a follow-up basis, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe you hit your customers up once a month on social media or whatever. I don't know, whatever strategy you have. But what does that do for top mind awareness within your customers? Because that's a side benefit to the referrals that is often not mentioned or not talked about, right? Because you reach out to that customer a month after the purchase or whatever as a follow-up, and now you're asking for referrals, but you're calling, you're saying the name of your dealership. Like there's some crossover there as far as some marketing appeal or some marketing benefit to it.
No doubt about that. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, if I got a phone call, and I've bought a car. I bought one car in my life, and I bought it through a salesperson who actually I had a really great time with, but I never heard from him again. And I don't blame him for that. He's probably out selling more cars, which is great. But that goes a really long way. I think everyone probably knows that. Everyone's going to appreciate, hey, JP, it's been 30 days since you had your car. Just checking in, and hey, want to keep it top of mind if any of your buddies are in the market for a car. I'll keep saying it over and over through this podcast, but let them know. Let them know, about our experiences. And even better though, Herb, is getting it automated. Having automated systems in place so that your salespeople don't have to really take. I mean, let me put it this way: if I'm a GM, yeah, I want my salespeople reaching out to to their customers. But at the end of the day, it's what's the most important. Of course, if you can do both, that's ideal. But I got an up walking in, or I can take 5 minutes to call my customer. I think they're probably going to focus most of their mind on that up that's coming in. So if you can find a system out there that's doing this for you, I mean, now you're ahead of the game.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And like I said, which the premise of the question is that, you want to get in some sort of cadence or some sort of follow-up technique or something, because there's it's an opportunity for you to get in front of customers and talk about your dealership, talk about your brand. Mm-hmm. And like I said, there's a marketing appeal to that, to making that a part of your process, because you just never know, dude. I mean, you can call your customers from, I don't know, 3 years ago or whatever, just to check up on them, and that's a good time to ask for a referral too. Obviously, if they're not ready to buy a car, they're not looking to buy a car, why not ask them if anything's changed or if they know of anybody, or you know what I mean, and take that opportunity to again promote your brand, promote your dealership, promote your services too. You got it.
And the thing is, man, I mentioned it earlier, is these referral programs, or some would call bird dog fees, they exist. It's actually rewarding. If I buy my car through you, Herb, I tell my brother, hey, I bought my car through Herb. If you go in and buy a car through Herb, I'm going to get $100 in the mail. I mean, that's pretty cool. But again, I don't think customers, and there's an exception to every rule, but I don't think the customers on the larger scale are aware of this. And if they were, I think it'd be a bit, a little bit of a different story. Keeping that on top of mind, man, I think that could be should be a huge priority for dealerships. Hey, really that retention is huge. Customer experience. It happened to me, Herb. I'll bring you back to when I bought my car. This was probably 3-4 years ago. And I got a check in the mail. I remember my buddy coming. I worked with him. He came out to me. Hey, you bought your car through, ABC. And I told him I had a great experience. A few weeks later, I had a check in the mail. Yeah, it might have even been like $200. That was awesome. That was really, really freaking cool. And, that kept me, prone to, okay, well, now I know, hey, if any of my buddies are in the car, I don't mind an extra $200 in my pocket. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I totally agree. And like you said, I mean, I think that we have to, that's got to be a part of of your process of letting your customers know about that, because that's a benefit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so switching gears here a little bit on the data side of things, right? Because we've become very data centric, I would say.
Absolutely.
In this industry.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when I've had these conversations about referrals, it always breaks down to, well, we can't track it. There's no way for us to track it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have a program where we do X or whatever, but there's no way for us to really track it because, they're, either if it's measured through the CRM, salespeople are not logging that in correctly, or whatever. If they're not using some sort of tool or anything, they're, how do you know? How can you tell?
Yeah.
Right? So how do you guys see that playing into the current, I don't want to say issue, but into, holding people accountable at the dealership level when it comes to implementing these? Because long term, I would say that there's a long-term benefit to doing this, right? Because if you get your salespeople on a groove, right, and they do this and
Mm-hmm.
it's happening around the clock, and there's going to be some long-term benefits to that. More exposure, I would assume more, increases in sold units, maybe even increases in the service department as well, because, there's a retention benefit to that.
Yeah, of course. And, I think with the technology that's coming out nowadays, Herb, if you're not tracking, you're behind. You're not really, staying current. You're not ahead of the curve. You're falling behind. It's all about tracking. I can't go into a dealership, and maybe I can, if they trust me, and hopefully that's the case anyways. But if I can't tell them, hey, if I can't come back to them, let's put it this way, if I can't come back to them 3 months later and show them exactly, hey, and let's just put it in my everyday. If I can't show them, hey, you signed up 90 days ago, and this is what's happened, who's going to be interested in that? So going back to the whole tracking and the data, you're absolutely correct. It's so important now. It's such a data-driven business. So I hope that answers your question okay. It's all about tracking, monitoring, and also with that tracking and monitorization, A/B testing. Always enhancing and making changes that need to be changed. One big example is, every time I search a car, let's just say I search in an Ford F-150. Well, then I'm going to get so many emails from it. And that's what we don't want to do, is we don't want to bombard, right? It's about figuring out these customers and really coming up with a, personalized campaigns, incentives that are tailored to specific interests and optimize to maximize conversion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And I like what you said there, because, if you can track it, if you can find a way to track it, then you can experiment, or you can experiment and you can measure that. What's working, what's not working. Let's make some tweaks here or there. Some sort of system, some sort of solution that allows you to do that and track it in some way. I think that there's definitely some added benefits to that.
Yeah. And, people unsubscribing from emails, whether it be emails, texts, you got to be tracking that stuff, because,
Absolutely.
If people are getting the same bland generic emails, and everyone gets the same one, and you don't know where things are falling off, then, you got a problem.
Right on. Yeah. All right. So kind of switching gears here. We're getting close to that time. I want to give you a few minutes to talk about what you guys do. We picked two companies. It's kind of become a I want to say tradition of the podcast, where we pick two companies that reach out, because I get that stuff all the time through social media, companies reaching out because of the podcast and they want to like obviously get the word out there.
Of course.
So, they're always reaching out to do demos and that sort of thing, which I love doing. I love learning. I love looking at other things. And we always pick 2 companies that we feel have something that's different, that's unique, that could be potentially something that could, it's either the beginning of some sort of change within the industry, or it's something that we feel is on its way to really make an impact, right? And when I saw what you guys have to offer, and we did the demo and all that stuff, I really, really liked what you have, because I like this concept of referrals. Again, it's the cheapest form of marketing. It's probably the most effective. And to find a way to kind of, I don't want to say, what's the word? To find a solution, right, where you can kind of, track it and measure it and make it happen, automated. Probably that's the word that I'm looking for, to automate this process of asking for referrals and more importantly, for the dealership benefiting from that. I think that's very, very interesting. At the very least, if not, it could be something that could really make a difference, really differentiate dealers, help with that experience portion, and ultimately help dealers sell more cars and do it in a way that's more cost effective to them.
Yeah.
So I want to give you some time to talk about what you guys are doing, and kind of let us know, man. What's referral? What give us the pitch.
Yeah. So, I'm going to take a little excerpt out of what you say all the time. I've listened to a few of you guys' podcasts, and, let's just say, make it easy. Joe goes into ABC link and he buys a car from you. Well, Joe said yes, right? And I love when you say that. He said yes. He said it for a reason, whatever that reason was. He said yes. All right. So what are we doing? Or why are we not putting Joe in an easy position to say yes again, over and over and over? Whether that be leaving a nice review, whether it be sharing his experience with a friend or his network, or coming back to the dealership for scheduled maintenance. So what we have here is basically a tool that's going to automate it for the salespeople. It's going to automate it for the dealership, to really cultivate long-term relationships with customers. Get them back into the dealership, having them leave reviews, asking for reviews, making it extremely simple to refer, whether that be through an email, whether it be through text, sharing it on Facebook. So basically, we have the tools that automate it for the customers. We make it rewarding. Again, we talk about the bird dog fees. The customers are reached out to on an ongoing basis, to really keep that retention high. And we're basically just kind of enhancing the customer experience, throughout the whole ownership process. So what's really cool about RevFerral is that every customer that leaves a lot is going to be provided a customized, personalized, what we call VIP page, or vehicle information page. Through here, they can, there's simple things, year, make, model of their car, but also really helpful information, how-to videos, digital owners manuals, being able to schedule your next service, all that good stuff. And we have the campaigns and systems to really make it easy for them, to keep them engaged and tracking all this information. When we ask for referrals, it's one thing to ask for referrals at delivery, Herb, which everyone should be doing. But it's another thing to be asking once and then on an ongoing basis. Because, when you leave the lot, you had a good experience and your salesperson asks you, hey, if anyone's in the market, well, who do you know that's in the market right away for a car? What are the odds of that? But the whole goal of RevFerral, or one of its many things, it's a very robust tool. But one of the things is keeping that in the forefront of their mind. Okay, if I know, it's because I'm getting, regular texts or emails. And again, this is all monitored. We're not bombarding these customers, but we have the tools to really keep that retention high. Oh, okay, my salesperson's reaching out to me. This is really cool. So offering incentives, tailored personal messages, to really cultivate and monetize on what is a satisfied customer. I think that's it's becoming a buzzword, is customer experience. How can we, convert our active customers, because they already said yes once, into, brand promoters? And the beauty of it is they can do this in a lot of ways. You remember we said 83% of, American consumers are willing to refer. Well, that's a starting point. And, we want to get that as close to 83%, because right now it's down at like 25%. And I'm talking about referrals there. So really there's a disconnect there, and we want to solve that problem. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, as far as the technology itself, like, listen, we're not for or against anything on the show. Yeah. You guys didn't pay us anything to be here. You're on the show because I liked what I saw, and I feel like dealers can benefit from it.
And I definitely appreciate that, Herb.
I liked what I saw, and some of the things that I liked about the product, I'll mention right now. Number one, I like that it's a system, right? It's a system.
Absolutely.
It allows you to automate that process. You don't have to, it's not like it's a tool at the end of the day. If you don't use the tool, then that's on you. But it gives you an opportunity as a decision maker at the dealership level to hone or to maximize that referral process.
You got it.
Which I really, really like. The other thing that I liked is I like the fact that you could put the reviews on the website for the customer, not for the customers, but from the customers rather. So that portion is really cool. I think that there's some added value there. And I like that it and I don't know, it's part of the, we call it bird dog fee or whatever, but it allows the customer to pick their form of payment via gift cards or something to that effect, if I remember correctly, got it. Right?
Yep.
So if I like Starbucks, I can get a $100 Starbucks card, or if I want Amazon or whatever. So, I think that when you think digital and just where we are as a society, I think that part's pretty cool as well. And there were other things. I don't remember everything because it's been a month or so since we did it. But I dig it, man. What just really quick, because we're really running out of time. But talk to us about the mechanics of it, if you will. Like if you could describe kind of the process. So I bought a car, I leave, I have your system now.
Yeah. So that's a good question. I'll try to make it quick. So Herb, this is a tool and a system, like you said, that is built to really last the whole entire lifespan of that customer's ownership. The average person, I think, buys a new car every 5 years. All right. So our tool starts right at delivery. We actually have a mobile app that salespeople can opt to use. We believe it goes a really long way. We actually have the statistics to show that. But what's really cool is I can go to a decision maker at a dealer and tell them, hey, the proof is in the pudding. All right. Referrals are big time. All right. If you're not doing anything about it, you should at least be thinking about it. What's really cool about ours is we know you guys probably have some of your top salesmen that have some good strategies, but the beauty of this is that we do it for them. All right. All you got to do is use our app. You can take up to 5 photos in front of the customer with their new car, and you press submit. All right. We integrate with the CRM and the DMS as well, to where it's 2 simple clicks of a button. It probably adds 30 seconds to the sales process. Right away, an automated email and text are going to go out, introducing them to that VIP that I talked about. And before that, they're, asked to leave a kind review and also share with friends. We do that up at, we talked about moments of delight at the beginning when they're the most excited. We want to take advantage of that. We want to provide them with some nice pictures. If the salespeople don't, and I hear it all the time on my sales guys, I don't want to say they're lazy, but they have their processes. They have their unique strategies that are working for them.
Dude, if you're, I'm sorry, but I got to interject here. One of my biggest pet peeves. If you're selling cars in 2019 and you don't take pictures of your customers, post them on your social media page, then you got problems.
I love that, man. And you know what? I don't want to throw any of the sales guys under the bus. I would say 90% of the people I ask, hey, are you taking pictures? Yeah, I'm taking pictures. So With that said, I think you're right. Most people are taking those photos, but that's the beauty of it, Herb, is you got it right there. You're already taking pictures. All right. So just use our app. It's going to upload it and immediately send an email out from you introducing them to their VIP through the systems. Before they get there, they're going to be asked for a nice review, share with friends. And from that point.
Now, you say share with friends. Does it share with friends on social media platforms?
Yes. So right now we're integrated with Facebook. And I know that, we've talked about, we're a little early stages right now, but we've got Facebook. We've actually, I remember last time we talked, we were not putting our reviews up to Google. Now we're shooting them right to Google, because that's what dealerships want. That's where people are looking. It makes sense to me. But also being able to share that on Facebook, making it, that's the thing. Or, you gotta be.
Wait. I gotta emphasize this. So I remember that. And I told you guys that would be an extra advantage because it helps with reputation management.
Hey, Herb, anything you say, man, I take it to heart. Believe me.
So now it's putting those reviews up.
Brings them right to Google.
Right on, man. That's even better. Wow. That's awesome.
We love it. So, and then, it's one thing to be getting reviews, Herb. There's so many there's so many softwares out there. That's the easy part, is getting the reviews. But, we take it a step further, maybe even 2 or 3 steps further. How are we really utilizing these reviews? Well, we make it super easy with templated things that they can post up to Facebook. They can shoot over in an email. We're actually working on through text, so they can literally just scroll through their address book, and it shoots the person from the customer to their buddies they're referring, a picture of their car. And right there, we have systems in place to identify those referrals in their, in whether they're in the market, whether that's, a month, 6 months, whatever. So we identify these people. You talk about data, and then, say they say 6 months. Well, and you're the referral. Hey, Herb, appreciate it. We don't want to bug you, but for now, here's maybe a little gift certificate to our service department to get them into the service department. But in 5 months, we have the systems. You say you're in the market for a car in the next 6 months. We got systems in place to start following up in 5. So it's identifying those customers and really having the systems in place to convert those referrals into customers for you guys. So we love it.
Well, listen, bro. Thank you so much for being on the show.
I'm happy to be here.
Really appreciate it. I want to give you some time to tell us how people can get in touch with you. I also want to mention, so this episode is dropping November 15th. So if you're listening to this today, the first day it aired, it's November 15th. These guys are putting up a webinar free of charge for you, November 28th. I believe it's a Thursday. I'm going to put the link to that webinar in the show notes. So make sure to go there if you want to do a free demo and check the system out. Again, it's free. Line up so that they can walk you through it. You can see it real time. Mm-hmm. And, like I said, come to your own conclusions. Again, they're not paying us to be on the show. We're not for or against anything. The only reason why I wanted to have this conversation is because I see value in it. And I wanted to make sure to bring that to you. So, again, make your own conclutions. So we got to wrap it up, dude, because I'm going out with my wife and I'm late.
It's a Saturday night. I understand.
Yeah, she's gonna. She won't be happy.
I love it, man. Yeah, you're a hard worker. Well, yeah, you guys can get a hold of me. I'm just going to give you my cell phone. It's 970-787-0551. You can check us out at RevFerral.com. That's referral with a V in there. Revving up reviews, revving up referrals. Kind of makes sense to most people. And then, that webinar is November 28th. No set time at this point, but hey, I'm talking to the team about maybe getting a nice little, I don't know if I can say this on here or not, but a nice dealer talk discount going for these guys. Should they like what they see and maybe want to get started.
Yeah, so we're gonna put everything in the show notes. You're gonna send me the stuff here in the next couple of weeks. This episode we're dropping it November 15th. So just go to the show notes and all the information for that free webinar is gonna be in there. Dude, again, man, this has been an awesome conversation. I really appreciate you being on here.
It's my pleasure.
What you guys are doing. Please keep me posted. Let me know how things progress. I really liked what you guys had. What you guys showed me. Like I said, I think there's value there. So I definitely would recommend the stores to check it out. Just check it out. come to you.
Definitely. I'm bummed Eric couldn't make it. Next time I'm in Vegas, I'm going to hit you guys up. We'll have a beer.
Right on, man. Sounds like a. Hey, man. So one last question. I ask everybody that comes on the show, and that question is, where do you see the automotive industry headed in the next 5 years, and why?
Such a great question. Something that all of us should be thinking about all the time. But at the same time, it's a tough one to answer. Of course, things are always changing, but, I think we can all agree customer is king, and the customer is absolutely changing. So, really being able to keep up with the customers, I think the less friction, the better. Things are moving online. I don't think that's going too far into that spectrum where people don't want to, people buy from people. But it, kind of brings up the old saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, in this case, old dogs are going to have to be learning these new tricks or they're going to be left behind. And of course, the new tricks I'm referring to are, just staying up to date with the latest technologies, and, all revolved around the customer experience. I hope that answered your question. Okay.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I love that perspective. I agree. I mean, especially you said something in the beginning there that I kind of wanted to emphasize a little bit more. You talked about change, and I think that you're absolutely right. But I think that in our industry, change is even more accelerated.
Definitely.
So you got to be thinking about the future.
It's starting right now.
Sure.
Yeah, it's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, dude, JP, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you being on here again. This has been a really good conversation. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
Thanks, everyone.
That's all we have for today. And as usual, we'll talk later.
You made it all the way to the end. Congratulations. Thank you so much for tuning in. We truly, truly appreciate it. If you like this episode and you think of somebody that can benefit from this information, please make sure to share it. Share this podcast so that they can take these insights back to the dealership and implement on their day-to-day. Thank you so much. And as usual, we'll talk later.